I'm going to give a quick background intro for those who may not have seen Kentik, a quick demo, and then talk a little bit about what's new since the last networking field days, and then what's coming up. And then after that, we'll also cover our synthetic performance testing, a separate section on cloud as well, and then some about our favorite protocol, BGP, being good Philadelphians. Kentik is a network observability company. I'll put in the plug. We have 40 job openings. So if you like the nerding that we do today, please contact us, contact me, contact anybody. We are hiring. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ASs and networks as customers, both enterprise, and then we also have service provider customers. We take a very broad view of, as Tom said, telemetry, traffic, metrics, BGP, performance testing, and have a big database platform. We generally run SaaS, so people send us that telemetry either with an encrypting proxy or directly or peering. And we also can do on-premises for people that are not ready to let go of the data from their network. And we take a very broad view of networks. So whether it's WAN, data center, any of those kinds of things. We're a 7-year-old company and are thrilled to be here at Networking Field Day again. So not news, networking is changing. Sometimes it can be difficult to figure out what your customers are doing, what the internet is doing. Is this an application thing? Is it an attack? We're automating, our customers are automating. So what's on an interface, where our performance problems can be hard to tell in today's environment. And it's not all our networks. So whether it's SaaS on the other end, that's what our service providers have to get their customers to, or cloud, or data center, or WAN, lots of different kinds of networks that we all ultimately get blamed for if things aren't working, and we want to know about and make run well. So because ultimately, of course, when the application doesn't work, it's got to be a network problem. And sometimes it actually is. And when it is, we want to know. So our approach has always been take lots of real-time data, enrich it so we understand not just BGP and geography, but also application and customer and division and group. Store it so you don't have to know what you want to ask in advance, and then be able to do things based on it. And so, ultimately, our view of what we're driving at is being able to ask the questions that people want, whether it's having the system tell you with insights in advance or being able to drill down. Before I started Kentik, the world was a sea of appliances, most of which didn't talk to each other. And what we see is a lot of customers really wanting to integrate. And at the end of this section, I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing to integrate with Prometheus, Influx, Elastic, S3, New Relic is a big partner of ours to bring network observability into the rest of the enterprise systems. Because if you can't, if you can't get good visibility, knowing where to look, can be a problem. Sometimes it is the network, and then of course, the beautiful moment is when you can say, with the right level of application visibility, hey, there is no network problem, but maybe you want to look over here in the application, which is why you want to link systems together. So our view is take all the telemetry, bring it into one platform, and then we'll talk about some of the functionality we provide today. A lot of it is around the basic traffic engineering, both internal and external. And then again, we'll have a separate section on synthetics, the performance testing, and on cloud. And of course, it's all about telemetry. And for this audience, I'll start a little bit in the middle. The kinds of telemetry we take, so if you think about what comes off of the network, is traffic. And as I said, we take a very broad view of that. So whether it's from cloud VPC flow logs or host eBPF or NetFlow and SFlow, to us, it's all traffic moving from somewhere to somewhere. Device telemetry, streaming telemetry is the hipster goodness. SNMP is the installed base of dinosaurs that actually make things go. Metadata, which is what does the traffic mean? That's been a mainstay for us, is adding the context in so that we don't have to query by IP address. And then what's newer is the synthetics, the performance testing that we're doing with actually web page testing just coming into the product. And then ultimately, we want to integrate so we're not sitting standalone. So I promise the demo is coming up quickly here. But what do we do with all this telemetry? We take it into the system, enrich it, and then I'll show you. We try to give people proactive insights, like what is happening that we want you to know about, and then let people dig into the details. And then if there's useful info, put it into Slack, put it into dashboards, do things with it. And then we have workflows that are designed to remove drudgery from networking. And some of those are automated, like protect the network with DDoS, and some of them are mundane, like audit a bill or do capacity planning, drain an interface that's full. Those are all the kinds of things that we try to do. And so I will switch over to quick tour, but if there are any high level questions, I'm happy to take them, or feel free to interrupt during the demo. So as I mentioned, Kentik is software as a service. It's multi-tenant. With single sign-on, we want everyone in the organization to be able to use it. We have multiple parts of the product. As I mentioned, we want, with insights, the system to be able to tell you about things that we think are problems. That there's a DDoS attack, or there might be a traffic engineering issue. There's a decrease in bandwidth on a link. Maybe you want to look at that. You can then go in and interface with the system and look at it. We have a few different high-level views of the network that bring together, again, whether it's cloud or whether it's traditional points of presence, and then let you get a very high-level view for maybe it's a NOC persona, someone that doesn't want to ask every last question, but needs to get a high-level view of applications and ASNs and sites. We have map-based views that will show you, cloud views that will show you. And then we also have what we call workflows, which are things like connectivity costs, where people want to audit their bandwidth bills when they buy transit, or on the cloud side when you're getting transfer costs, or people are looking for potential peers, people to interconnect to. And we'll show you that in the last section that we present today. We also have some service provider functionality, so people can look at even things that are not traditional ASs on the internet, which is CDNs, how much traffic comes to or from a CDN, or to Netflix or gaming sites. Those are all the kinds of things that we try to bring together in a modern way, where, again, the internet is connecting us all to these things. Just a quick tour of how to go from the high level down to the low. In Kentik, I can, in most of the places, say, I've got a great high level view, and that's what we try to provide to NOC, to executives. For a while, we called these the boss dashboards, so someone could come in and see what's going on, who doesn't think in path and prefix and things like that. And ultimately, underneath, there's a data engine that lets you get all the data, make an API call, integrate, pull out, integrate data with systems. And if you are a super data nerd and you really want to be able to refine and ask any question you want, all of the data, whether it's primary or some of the enrichments that we do, is accessible, even down to and including bringing in your own CMDB, integrating with Netbox, anything that you know about traffic, performance, metrics on your network, integrate and let you bring back. So before we got into the other sections, I just wanted to give that kind of a quick tour of what Kentik looks like. It's a platform that people use via API. You can use it out the side via chat ops, or you can log into the UI. There are insights that you might get, or the network laid out. We will cover synthetics, and will talk about our performance testing, including private and public networking performance testing, and then I will not steal Dan's thunder on the cloud side, where we have some functionality there. So synthetics is entirely new since we last talked. Performance testing, integrated, driven by what we know about traffic topology metrics of the devices, including high-level performance tests, path and topology, application testing, DNS testing, BGP monitoring. All of that is new, and we have a whole section on that. On the traffic side, we have maps that pull together whether it's hybrid, cloud, internet, on-prem, or between. And we've done a lot of work on what I mentioned, workflows, to help people look at cost auditing, capacity planning, and developing additional alerting anomaly detection insights. For cloud, we've showed some cloud functionality in Kentik over the last few years. We've done a lot of work to really integrate to help a traditional networker understand what's going on with topology. And AWS, is the first one that we built the deeper integration for, and Dan will show that. We've also added IBM flow logs, and we've done a lot with cloud native monitoring for those wacky app folks that think that the network stops at the Ethernet. We have an eBPF agent that actually does a hybrid mode, so it looks at the packets but enriches it with eBPF, so you can look at super cloud native Kubernetes visibility, or if you're running a VMX, ASR, Arista, F5, whatever, you can actually see traffic running through it and have that all be integrated. On the platform side, we've been focusing a lot on integration, and I have a couple of slides about that right now. Integrating across the observability ecosystem, and we've actually made the strategic decision to open source all of our agents and try to get tools out there for common ingest pipelines for that telemetry that we all want cups and bowls and streams of. And that's been a big focus, especially as people are looking at infrastructure as code and automation. The fire hose is one of those features. So if you think about Kentik taking all that telemetry, whether it's routing, traffic, metrics, performance testing, all of that, we actually can take that in and send it back out to other systems. And we have an open source tool called K-Translate. They can take that, roll it up and send it to time series, not roll it up and send it to Kafka or S3 buckets. And we have integrations for New Relic, Splunk, and other platforms, so that, again, teams can collaborate. We found that not every networker wants to go into the deep application side, and most application folks don't want to go deep into the networking side. Using that, or as part of that, we founded Kentik Labs, which is really the open source side of what we're doing, where we're trying to democratize some of the front end side of telemetry processing and integrations. As I mentioned, CNCF, the Cloud Native Compute Foundation, still network stops at inside the Ethernet. It's our goal to get network telemetry into the OTel, the open telemetry space, education, and really trying to build a community around that. If there's folks interested in that, please contact. We're hiring on that front also. And some of those projects are K-Translate, which I mentioned. We have a lightweight eBPF agent. We're open sourcing the more full one. We have a host PCAP agent. Basically all the things that we use on the front end, we'd like people to be able to put into their pipelines and use outside of just Kentik. New Relic, I mentioned briefly, is a deep integration that we've done, where actually trying to bring the unified view of router, switches, cloud, VPC, and performance testing into New Relic. Our agent set, working with them, same view across teams. It's something that has been a big focus for us. So what's next on our roadmap? Doing what Dan's going to show you for Amazon, but for the rest of the clouds. Really increasing our anomaly detection to include the application context by integrating with those APM systems or seeing the cloud native telemetry from host side. Going deeper right now, as we take SNMP streaming telemetry, it's focused on the core device health and interfaces, but a lot of our customers are asking us to go really broadly, the way that, through the full MIB, through the full streaming telemetry set. Synthetics, Anil will talk a little bit about a roadmap. Right now, we're very server and internet focused. We'll be doing some of the endpoint performance testing that our IT customers are asking for. And then just lots of integrations. And by next Networking Field Day, I hope to show you a cool open source project that will let you plug in SNMP, streaming telemetry, API, and God help us, screen scraping from CLI when you just need those optics parameters and you just can't get it any other way. And again, in an open way. So you could send it to Kentik, you could send it to Prometheus, whatever your platforms are. And then a little subversive, taking all the eBPF agents and trying to make it so you don't have to pay the clouds for VPC flow logs. But again, we want the networkers to get a view, and then to make it useful to the cloud native side, to the SREs. So that's what's coming up. And then we found helpful also is to talk about what is not on our roadmap, the things that we're not doing, because we have a very broad mandate, which is help people understand the network in a very broad way. But there's also things which we said we want to partner on, like config management. There's a lot of work there. There's also a lot of uniqueness there. So we follow some of the config validation, and a lot of our customers use it. Batfish, we see a lot of folks using. Intent seems to be a little bit more fragmented. IGP, very long tail. We do BGP for some of the other stuff. We look at integrating events. We'll be doing, syslog and what's changing, even pulling that out of the configs. But a lot of our customers say, can you just be a BI platform or replace Splunk? And that's not our mission. We really want to take a view of what do the infrastructure professionals need and solve those issues. Similarly, we're a little bit more on the production networking side or data center. And so some of the campus, we don't do a lot of wireless, and we really integrate with systems like ServiceNow or whatever ITSM. It's not really the areas that we're going into. So yeah, we have a broad view, but we're not trying to do everything. And so hopefully this is helpful to think about what we're going for and where we're going.
So, and you sort of anticipated it with that slide. Are you positioning Kentik as kind of a replacement for your traditional network monitoring tool, or sort of additive to what you might already have?
Yeah, it's additive right now. And what we're thinking is that I broadly call the up-down ping things, which is, the Knockle, if you're old, Knockle or Nagios or Zabbix, those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. As we do the full metrics, that's where we're really going to do that. That's, a piece that we're missing, where we tend to be more internet side or deeper, like, okay, the thing's down, why? That's where we tend to come in. So that front end, yes, we'll probably do the service health, but again, even as we do that, some of those systems have deep help desk ticketing functionality, and we're probably not going to be that front end. So, so Drew, I think we're really integrating today. We'll do more of the service health end to end. Again, we can do it with synthetics, but the testing every last thing and integrating, with your IT systems is probably about 6 months to a year out for us.
Okay. And so the primary focus, I guess I would say, at least based on what I've seen so far, is sort of WAN, internet, and some data center, or is that?
Yeah, WAN, accurate? Internet, data center, cloud.
Okay.
Focused broadly around performance. Some people use us for security. It depends. I think of DDoS as more like availability. I shove your head in the toilet. That might make it easier for me to pick your pocket. That's security. But some people call that a security budget. And then traffic engineering capacity, which is the binary of performance, right? If it's full, then the performance is horrible. So, it's like, are the packets flowing? Is the revenue flowing across WAN, data center, cloud? That's our bread and butter.
Thank you.
Hey, Avi, I got to follow up to Drew's question. Yeah. Is sort of, I realize this is a negative roadmap, but at the same time, are there expectations around partnerships? Specifically, you have the one for New Relic around the APM side, but the APM market is changing quite a bit.
Yep.
As I'm sure you're well aware, and in terms of what's going on, and there's some consolidation that's happening in that market that sort of merges together some competitive products into the APM space. What sort of partnerships are you guys looking to sort of bring to the table around that? And is that a big area of growth that you're looking to expand to?
Yeah, it's a big focus for us. So we've done a partnership with New Relic so that our agents integrate with them, and we've offered the same to others. That's why we're we've decided to open source the agents. New Relic is releasing our synthetics offering that Anil will show you into their enterprise base, because their customers are interested in the network side of performance testing and path and being able to integrate it all. We're feeding our metadata to them, and then ultimately, it's not out yet, but hopefully next quarter, drop the API key in. And this item here, app-aware anomaly detection, is we'd like to be pulling that metadata So like a network layer, we might pull from Netbox, rack, location, data center, where is that thing? We want to know the application context so we can do that correlation. So,
And that,
we are, sorry,
are
go
you
ahead.
looking at doing this cloud native too? And for the,
Mhm.
like the Datadogs of the world,
Yeah.
some of the others that fit in a
Yeah.
similar space. And then obviously for the workload that's running up there, you guys being able to do the same thing in terms of stitching where the application actually lives within those environments.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we can show you as a bonus at the end if we have time, some of the cloud native visibility that we're doing. But the K-Translate that I mentioned actually is the catcher for that fire hose and has endpoints basically. Our goal is to have endpoints, again, Influx, Kafka, New Relic, Prometheus, Splunk, Datadog is not there yet, but we want to be able to feed bidirectionally because I really think it's critically important for networking to be relevant, that we have visibility of the application. The way I think about it, though, is if I see a performance problem and across all network infrastructure, it's the same, but one application endpoint, it's different, I want Kentik to see that and show you. But if you want to do the deep debugging of that, that's probably going to be functionality that's not going to be in Kentik. Vice versa, if you're in an application, we'd like to give New Relic, Datadog, Splunk, those folks the ability to say, hey, it looks like this POP, this AS, this network context, there's an issue. You should go into a networking tool but here's the link, have everything linked back and forth. That's our goal strategically.
Okay, now that makes sense. And I appreciate you guys open sourcing and making that stuff sort of available from I just know there's a lot of agent fatigue. So trying to reduce the agent footprint is a big deal. So allowing others to basically either integrate what your agent does or call via API, just pump the data in the right way to the agent is a big deal. So.
Yeah, that's why we thought it was great. Also, networkers don't always control. They don't always have an edge infrastructure. They don't always usually don't control the app infrastructure, the app hosting infrastructure. So we want to do what we've done with New Relic with others to make it easier, to get. And then one other way we want to fight app fatigue is, but again, if you do collect it, make it easy to get out. The challenge is, again, right now, if it's not SNMP, most of the other folks in the APM space don't really see it. And as I said, the CNCF work that we're trying to do in Kentik Labs is our goal is to make these first-class primitives because, again, with all love to a lot of great things they do, if you look in that ecosystem, the network stops at things terminating on a Linux kernel, right? The traditional eBPF approach is basically netstat, right? Which if you're running a virtual F5, the kernel knows nothing about it. So in a hybrid mode, you still need some networking context that we'd like to bring to that world.
Yeah, normalizing some of the data too that gets reported out because all the APMs do it slightly differently is problematic too. So hopefully that can
that's our goal. I would say it's not a solved problem, but happy to talk with any folks that are interested in nerding about that, and happy to show what it looks like in New Relic and other platforms. Because a lot of our customers, that's been, about half our customers are enterprise, and a lot of our enterprise customers are web companies, content companies, people that have, been living the observability world for a while, and so these kind of integrations are really important to them. So,
Avi, just because we're talking about APM, and you mentioned, that we can prove it's not the network. What's the boundary for you where you stop measuring to be able to say we know it's the network is fine? It's an application issue.
Yeah. So in the Kentik context, our goal is to have the insight pop up and say performance problem, and then sort of this app endpoint or this app location, but look across the network, no problem. So that kind of correlation, or the reverse to say, hey, we're seeing this performance problem and it is only from this site, this network, this location. And we found our customers are perfectly happy to have the network blamed if it is the network problem, as long as they can quickly get at it. It saves a lot of time and energy. And in New Relic, our goal is to do basically the reverse, which is, as I said, this is Kentik network data. and that can work even without people using Kentik, using the agents. But when you go into their lookout view, the goal is to give the app view, I guess a navigator, maybe. Sorry, the live demo of someone else's product, always a little problematic. But the goal is to be able to bring in the network constructs and let people see their, and with their own anomaly detection, is it network or application? So that's the goal. Not the deep debug, but just where is the problem? That's the goal, is to let eventually security people do the same thing, with those integrations.
On the endpoint performance monitoring, obviously, if you're monitoring an endpoint, you care about wireless at that point. So the wireless that is on your negative roadmap is pertaining to infrastructure as opposed to the end clients, correct?
Yes. We're just not in the next 6 to 9 months likely to go deep into probing the metrics of a lot of the different wireless devices. And if you look at what, Cisco or Juniper are doing with the deep wireless side, that's probably not going to be a big focus. Now, we have a metrics platform. We could take those metrics, you could build dashboards, but to really go deeply into that is just probably not going to be in our short-term roadmap.